Obviously, War of the Roses seems somewhat inspired by Mount and Blade. Mount and Blade is also a Paradox game. So, how did these games come about from Mount and Blade? Was it a direct inspiration? You know, did Mount and Blade prove that this sort of combat was marketable, or is this like a whole new idea, you know, separate to Mount and Blade?
No, definitely Mount and Blade kind of forged and showed that it was that there were a lot of people interested in the close quarter combat, you know, kind of medieval age settings where it was sword, shield, and bows and stuff. I think people have always been interested in that, but it's like technology just hadn't got it to a point where it was easy for you to do that. And so, you know, Mount and Blade definitely, I would say, is a key pioneer in that. There's a lot of other games, these Dark Age of Camelot and stuff like that. So there's a lot of games that had started touching on it, but I think they were the first ones to really draw in a really large crowd and show, hey, this is a popular thing, and it is, you know, this is something that can work. And you know, and they're their own company, they own their own IP, and so just naturally, you know, Paradox wanted to do something and continue to do that. So probably out of that, I came in a bit later. So I basically War of the Roses had just got signed, and they're having Fat Shark develop it, and then I came on with a lot of multiplayer experience from DICE and working on Battlefield. So they're just like, cha-ching, perfect, take this Gordon and you know, make something out of it. And so we definitely took inspiration from them, but you know, we are our own game, and as you can see, like, we've done some changes to War of the Vikings as well. And
have you played War of the Roses before, Miguel?
It was really laggy because I'm from the Philippines, and that's really bad.
Nice. You aimed your shield. Very nice. So that's something that we've added that wasn't in War of the Roses, because shield combat was more a part of the way that they fought. We put more time into actually making sure the shields kind of reflected that precision that they used, and we also made them much more precise. So if you can get around somebody's shield, so the shield won't just give you an invisible force field. You actually have to aim the shield.
It feels more tactile than War of the Roses.
Yes.
I can't hear you, Michael.
Bitch. Fuck now.
Where's my shield?
I don't know, maybe you fucking hate it. So some of these changes, like directional combat, they seem to be designed to work better coping with online and things like that. So the impression I got was they were slightly simplified. So would you say they're slightly simplified, or is there?
In some senses, they're kind of like, I think the presentation is more intuitive, less than simplified. So like when we only have 3 directions of attack, but it fits better with the player. Like, oh, I move to the right, I swing from the right. I move to the left, I swing to the left. I go up, I swing from above, right? But down, yeah, 4. But down, it's kind of like, it didn't really have an identity, even in War of the Roses, is like, because it depended on the weapon. And in this time period, they didn't really use blunt weapons. They had edged weapons. They were about chopping. Everybody always had a wooden shield, so they wanted to just, you know, eliminate that defensive mechanism and get in there and just cut them. Fencing techniques and stuff hadn't really evolved to the level that they did in the 15th century. So, you know, kind of those things. It was a simpler time period, you know, for lack of better words on my part, but there is a lot more to the combat as well. I mean, it was very aggressive, so you know, you really have to be smart about when you're going to be defensive and when you're going to be offensive, and that kind of really was exciting and actually more fun than we had anticipated. And we actually calculate that. So if somebody hits you at the right time with the blade, even if they hit you with a weak shot, they'll actually multiply. There'll be a multiplier on that hit that they did, and they'll actually do an increased amount of damage. So it increases the chances of them doing a one-hit kill. And adding systems like dodge, so because melee combat happens a lot more in this situation. You don't have mounted combat, you don't have the black powder weapons that were coming about in that time period. So you know, you don't have crossbows, so you just have bows, but you know, that's a tighter mix. And so, you know, adding dodge systems and being able to dodge and follow up with an attack and things like that, those really kind of just made that core simple system to jump into, gave it additional layers on top of that to explore and to, you know, to take to the next level. And I think that was a good way of us kind of making it more accessible without hurting the depth at the same time. Okay. So we're going to be adding taunts that players are going to be able to do, like, you know, like the taking your shield and clanging it and stuff like that, and like calling them out and stuff, which is actually something that happened a lot in that time period. They talked a lot of shit to each other. It's kind of like,
So have you taken any liberties with the era? Like, are there any weapons that you wouldn't necessarily see in there? Because I know crossbows were a big thing of War of the Roses, but at the time crossbows weren't used as much.
yeah.
Because I'm actually from the town of St. Albans, which is where I kicked off.
Nice.
So when I wrote this
It's a really nice town. I've been there.
It is, yeah. And so I spoke to some guys, a couple of historians I know from, and they were like, there were no crossbows in this period, and they looked at the maps and they noticed certain things, but they weren't always perfect. So are you staying more historically accurate this time, or was crossbows a bad idea, or
They didn't really use them from what we could find. I think maybe we've been a bit better sticking to the accuracy of it, but again, they're games, so maybe we'll take things that were uncommon, and then because gamers like it, it becomes common. Now here's something unique. If you hit F, you'll actually do a really nice aggressive special move.
Cool.
Cheers for the tip.
But you both did it at the same time, but you got yours off just a split second before him.
So the pre-alpha is, the alpha is out for everyone who has
War of the Roses Kingmaker, and people who have signed up through our sign-up page, and then we'll be giving keys out through social media channels and to our media partners like yourself.
Right. Any idea on a release date?
We're looking at, right now we're just going to keep it ambiguous and say Q1 2014.
So are we looking at PS4 Xbox One release maybe?
I would say it's possible, especially now on the PS4 that they've opened up and switched over to the x86 architecture. That makes it very realistic, and those machines now can handle a game like War of the Roses and War of the Vikings that
It's
are
still
much
the Unreal 3
heavier.
engine, right?
No, we use a bit squid engine, so we have our own custom engine that's built by our sister company, Fat Shark's sister company, Bit Squid.
Okay.
So it's I know for a fact they are working on supporting that because they license out to other teams as well, not just us. So they very will likely have customers who want PS4 support. So I know that'll add it, and then we'll see about it. We're Steam wrapped, so our biggest challenge would be putting in a new matchmaking system to get connectivity to work. But those are all solvable problems, whereas previous gen was impossible.
Okay, right. Well, thanks for talking.
Cool.
PCGMedia.
Thank you.